All right, we're live on Facebook. We're gonna just put on the intro, allow people time to come in, and share out a little bit to the community. All right, how's it going, everybody? Second show of the day. We got 5 programs today. Let's see. Okay, we've got a beautiful lady coming on by the name of Susan Bornstein. Let me see here. Let me pull up her bio. It's very, very interesting. Here we go. Susan is a 67-year-old ceramic artist. I am the artist. I am also an emotional processing coach. Many years ago, I did a lot of women's spirituality work. We held classes, did ritual, had a neo-pagan coven. We cultivated some significant creative power, which helped me move the west coast of Canada to mature my soul relations with the Earth's boost. My small town is somewhat isolated and, although not uncivilized, quite a clean natural landscape. I first started doing the feminine study and practice in the midst of a normal, heavy, control-oriented cultural space of family and education systems. Then I was looking for a way to bring nurturing to an inverted system I could not change. Now I am just being prompted to create a wise woman's dreaming circle. I was thinking it would consist of older women, although not necessarily exclusively. It's a pretty long bio, and that's all right. If you guys want to read it, I'll attach it to the live. Let's talk about these things with her, as opposed to, let me just reading them to you. This way we can talk to her. So let me get Susan up here. And let's see here. Here we go. All right. Well, she disappeared. Let's see what happened. All right, let me try this one. Panelist. Try it again. Hey, Milana Flores, Fiore, Milana, when you coming on the show? Hit me up if you want to come on, or hit Morgan up. You'd be great. All right, let's see here. Let's see here. Susan, can you hear me? Well, you should have received a message asking you to start the video. And should be popping up on your screen. All right, let's try something else here. Well, you should be receiving a, yeah, Milana, you need to come on. Yeah, Susan, you should be receiving a a dialog box opening up asking you to start your video. 33 people at 3 minutes and 33 seconds, according to Denise Chadwick. I'm going to be on Denise's show tomorrow. I'm really, really excited to do that and be a part of what she's creating. It'll be noon Eastern time, 4 o'clock in London. So that'll be 9 a.m. Pacific Coast. And after midnight, down under. Well, Susan, let's send me a message in the chat, on the Zoom chat, if you can. We'll just keep on going. It'll work out. Every time we have technical difficulties, we always have a great show. Seems like she's got some followers here. All right, Susan, it should have a message popping up that says, let me try something else. Let me try to make you co-host. So you're going to have a message coming across saying, do you want to be a co-host? And answer yes to that, and or answer yes to starting your video. Okay. We're going to give it a couple of minutes, and I'm just going to have a little faith, like we all need to. Okay, so yeah, tomorrow I'm going to be on Denise's show. I'm looking forward to that. And we got this show and 3 more shows. Let's see here. 3 more shows after this today. I'm not sure what's happening here, but we will figure it out. One of the shows today, the last show, it's going to be at 8:30, so that'll be 12, just after midnight in England. It's going to be our new moderator, second person to sit in this chair, SOULSPEAKS 5D, Hung Nguyen, out of Canada, our dear sister, the Dragon Lady. She's going to interview Morgan Lee at 8:30 tonight, Eastern time. That ought to be really good. We all know how camera shy Morgan is, but I think it'll be really good show. All right, let's try this again. Ask to start video. See if that works for you. If you guys didn't catch that show this morning, man, I would highly recommend it. Z and Brian down in New Mexico, young couple, just beaming Divine Sacred Union Code and many other things too. All right, I'm not sure what's happening here, but I'm going to give it a little bit more time. She may not have enough bandwidth, so we'll just keep going with it. And if she pops in, she pops in. Susan, feel free to send me a note on Messenger or in the Zoom chat. And you might want to just try to get out of Zoom altogether, and then just go back to the instant messenger, click the Zoom link, and see if that works. You might try that. Yeah. So what's been happening? I'm getting a lot of messages in my messenger. That's always the case, but a lot of messages pertaining to a certain fear-based program running around the world right now. Let's see, Zoom not working on my phone. I will try my computer. Okay, let's see. Let's all send a little positive energy over to let's see here, to Susan. Let's see if we can get her on here. I'm going to remove this one. Remove. Okay. Yeah, I've been getting a lot of messages in regard to, and all of them except for one I got today from a dear sister. Just seem to be, in my opinion anyway, adding to the frequency of it. But yeah, I said I wasn't going to talk about it on this program anymore. We talked about it once and that's it. But I mean, yeah, I talked to her on Facebook Messenger, tried calling her there. Okay. Anyway, she's going to try to get on her computer. So what else is happening in the world? What's really the most important thing is what's happening with you and me. After all, this is the apocalypse, defined in Webster's dictionary as the unveiling. And the most important unveiling is the one that we have within ourselves, between us and the universe. And that's where the real deal's happening. It's just, we all want to contribute to the collective, and the best thing we can do is to keep clearing space and integrating polarities, balancing, polarities as they're presented to us, and to shine our soul. One great thing about this whole trip is, let me just tell her there's no rush. She's working on it. One thing about this trip that seemingly can get very complicated, is we can make it pretty simple by just shining our soul. Whatever makes you happy. That's where it's at. When you do that, it takes all the complications out. And as I think it was Jenny Smith said a while ago, to quote yours truly, nothing raises hell like the light. Hello, Lorenzo Conte. How's Atlantic City area doing? All right, here she comes. Let's see. Ask to start video. And okay, she's coming. She's making it. I can see her appearing. Now we have one more problem. Your microphone's off. So your microphone might be attached to like Messenger if you were talking to anyone on Messenger. But we got time. No rush. We're going to make this happen. If you, okay, let's see what is connecting the audio. Okay, perfect. Here we go. She's connecting the audio. Let's see if that worked. No, didn't work. Okay. You might try one more thing. Can you hear me? I can't see you. I just want to make sure. Oh yeah, you might try one more thing. It's all right. It's going to be okay. We might try. You look beautiful, by the way. Might try one more thing. Just get out of Zoom altogether. Actually close everything on your computer, then go back into Facebook, back to Messenger, and click on it. It might just turn your mic on by default. So you can try that. Yeah, what were we talking about? Let's see here. Looks like Milana Fiore, my dear beloved sister, is going to be coming on the show. It looks like. All right. How you doing, Paul Castaneda? How's it going down there in the hood in LA? It's my brother there. He picked Morgan and I up on Lionsgate 88 when we came over to the mainland from Hawaii, and took care of us for a few days. Chauffeured us around Los Angeles with all those people. She's working on it, I think. Let's see. We'll just keep on going. Anybody have anything they want to talk about? Anybody besides the two things I said we're not talking about? So don't bring those up. It's a good time to, it's probably the best time ever to spend some time with yourself. Doesn't take very long. Ask the universe some questions. What polarities am I unaware of? What shadows am I unaware of? Because remember, you're asking the universe. Everything that you need to know is stored inside your physical Merkaba, and all the other information in the universe is available to you. Carol Mordaga wants to talk about the ascension. Stephanie Lynn is loving these shows, and she's in her pajamas. Yeah. Hey, Amy Brown, how you doing? Linda Brooks, a lot of familiar faces. Alana Hartman, Maurice Vergal, the choice we face that you spoke about in your post. The choice we face that you spoke about in your post. I think she's referring to what I was talking about a while ago. Fear-based programming that's running rampant on the earth. It doesn't matter what it is. You know, some fear-based programming takes on a physicality and some doesn't. But one thing's for sure, the more energy, the more focus that's put on any fear-based program is going to create a strong likelihood that it will take a physicality. Oh, Carol says, I know about it, but I don't think everyone else is aware of it. Okay. No, I'll just repeat it. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, we're not talking about this fear-based programming that seems to have the world by its ass right now. We're not talking about that on SoulSpeaks 5D because we don't want to feed it and create a larger consciousness or energetic force of it. And we're also not speaking about any savior programming. And what I mean by that is where we disempower ourselves by waiting on something to come in and save us. You know, we don't know how this thing works, and we really don't. It's all about being in the unknown and stepping into the unknown. And we don't really know how it's going to work out. So we don't really know for sure that what we're going to be, you know, exposed to energetically in terms of what happens collectively. And I guess what I'm trying to say is don't let's be careful about giving our power away to things that are, as I said in that post, too extreme dark and too extreme light. You know, too much light and too much dark both pull you off the 0 point. So let's just be careful about any salvation programming or savior programming. All we got to do is look at history and see how none of them worked. Hey, Dr. Joe Delaney, how's it going? Healing, peace, love, and comfort to your mother and everybody out there. And that's another subject. You know, there's a lot of, still a lot of, and nothing against anybody or anything here. Let me see if I can get Susan on now. Let's try one more time. She's coming on. We are powerful. Damn right we are. We are the darlings of the universe. Let's see, we got a chat here. Who's somebody in the chat? I like to believe that the ascension has now officially begun. Exciting. This is from Deb Vihara. Like labor before birth, it may appear painful and potentially frightening, but the end result is going to be unimaginatively positive. That's a great quote. Okay, let's try Susan one more time. We got a video. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hello. There is Houston. We have, what is the old saying? Hello, Susan.
Hi.
How are you? Beautiful, beloved sister. It's good to see you. I love the bio. I love the raw, real, transparent authenticity of your bio. Welcome to SoulSpeaks 5D. Thank you for honoring us with your presence and sharing space with us today.
All right.
I heard a lot of good things from Morgan about you, and that's good enough for me.
Oh, okay.
She tells me I do it.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, that's how this divine masculine's expanding. I listened to the masculine part of me long enough. So now I'm starting to hear the feminine part of me, and it makes it easy because I have a female, feminine incarnation that I've somehow manifested and created. Oh, so, okay. What's going on? You're in Canada, right?
Yep, I'm in Powell River, British Columbia.
British Columbia, powerful area over there. Powerful Vancouver Island and all that.
Yeah, powerful. It's beautiful here.
So you've been awake for quite some time, I think, haven't you?
I don't know. I was thinking about that question. Like,
the famous question, the famous Todd question.
When did you wake up? What do you mean? The Buddha was awake. Nothing I'm doing is anywhere close to that. Right? Yeah. It's like, but it's a process. I'm working on it. It's a goal. I can't say I'm anywhere near that, but.
Well, I can't remember who it was. It was a young lady, I remember. I asked her that question. She said this morning. And she meant every day I wake up more,
Oh,
and
all right.
that's what you're saying, basically. It's a
Well, the
work
more
in
I
process.
look at it, the more it's bizarre. It's like something happens to time. My whole life was already, I knew what my whole life was when I started. It was all written and it unfolded, and I can sit here and watch it unfold. And I knew when I was 6 what was happening today. So when did I, but then there's all this fog on top of it, right?
Hmm.
And then I was a person, and then I was a complete idiot. And then I was like, and the fog just keeps peeling off. And I was crystal clear when I was 6 years old.
Wow.
But there was all this other stuff going on. So,
Well, don't feel like the Lone Ranger. Most of the people that come on this show say the same thing. I had it when I was young. I made a choice to enter the matrix in my late teens, and then I reawoke at some point. Did you have a reawakening? A lot of people had a kind of a reawakening
well,
on
I
or
don't like
around.
to say I made a choice to enter the matrix. I like to blame other people. But like
Yeah.
my dinner table when I was 6 was my father, who said, "We are light, pure, glorious, creative, magnificent light." And on the other side of the table is my mother screaming, "Shut up, people can't handle this." And so but in the end, I chose the shut up side.
Mm.
Well, I heard everything my father said and registered it in my body. And then I don't know, it was always there, because he couldn't have said it unless it was in me to start with, and she couldn't have said shut up unless that was in me to start with. So they were like a picture of me,
Yeah.
contrast, split in two kind of thing.
Wasn't that beautiful though? I mean, you had two extremes to find the
Yeah.
middle road. You
But
did a good.
then when my father died, my mom had cancer and her kids left, and she became just like him. Well, her version of him, like she just rose, like.
Wow.
So that was pretty interesting too.
So he was a big influence on you. Both of them, I guess, were.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, a lot. Yeah, especially my dad. In 2011, Maureen Moss and Patricia Cote Robles said on the same day, "You were born in this time for this time." And like I just sat there paralyzed, going, "Oh shit, that's my dad." And I've just been remembering him ever since. And like since Trump won the election, everything he said and everything he predicted just unfolds every day. And I just
Wow.
sit there,
So
wow.
what? So what was he? Now this happened years ago. He was telling you this.
I was 1962. I was 10, right?
Wow. I was 1, but so what was he saying in 1962? Just a couple, 2, 3 examples of what's happening today.
Well, he was a World War II American Army vet. So he had this loyalty to the States, and God was an American or something. But yeah, so his whole myth is couched in American history.
Yeah.
So on the front in France in the Second World War, him and all the guys in his army troop saw themselves as light. They went to a bar somewhere on leave and signed an American dollar bill, believe it or not. It says, "We are only light," and they all signed it. My mother has
Wow.
this bill in a safety deposit box, and when she dies, I want this dollar bill. And then they went back to the front. All 13 other guys died, and he got to trench alone, and he was the only survivor. So from that moment on, he was the messenger. He just lived to say what they saw, and that was his purpose in life, right? And so he got a bunch of medals in the war, went AWOL twice, and then he was the messenger, and he was quite enlightened. So he would tell us about all this stuff, and my mom would scream, "Shut up!" But like she'd scream, "Shut up!" I would get really upset, and he didn't even hear her. Like, it didn't matter. This is all I'm here to do, is to say this. And he said, "One day the American people will wake up and find out no one's been running their country since the end of the Second World War," which I guess goes along with Eisenhower's stuff and all that.
Wow.
And that the Americans had betrayed their Constitution absolutely and completely the day they entered the Second World War, whether or not they should have or not, but that was it, because they were going to be isolationist, and that they just blew the whole thing. And that one day it would be revived. And he told me to wait. In this lifetime, you will see everything you came here to see. And when he died, I was the only one with him. He got in the car with the nurse. nurse said, take off your watch. She turned around, handed me the watch and said, wait. Straight in the eye. And I tried to give the watch to my mother. She gave it back to me. I tried to give it to my sister. She gave it back to me. So, yeah. And then he was, civilization becomes interstellar. We watch science fiction ad nauseum. He read history and science fiction. And a lot of other stuff. And every day I go, oh my God.
This is profound. Now, my stepfather was in the CIA for 25 years at a high level, very, very high level. He told me a few things in the mid 70s, but nothing like what you're talking about. So was your father in intelligence, or was he getting this direct from infinite intelligence?
Well, I always thought it was direct. My sister and him talked about conspiracy ad nauseum my entire childhood. I tried not to listen because it was deeply disturbing, because from my point of view, the conspiracy starts in my head where I go, I'm not good enough, so you have to tell me what to do. And like, I'm so involved in this conspiracy, I can't, so I couldn't listen to them, but they talked all the time. And my sister won't talk to me about this stuff really these days. I don't know why. But anyways, I asked her about it. She thinks that those 14 guys were a special unit in the Army. I don't know. She probably knows. And since then, conspiracy things have been coming up, and I've been remembering what my father said. So when Jeffrey Epstein was in jail, I called up my sister and said, okay, was he murdered? Did he kill it? And she knows it all. She knows everything about every conspiracy in the United States. And they talked about it, but I didn't listen to that part. I listened to the spiritual part. She listened to the conspiracy part. So maybe he might have been in a.
So he said that in your lifetime, America and the world, civilization would go interstellar.
Yep, that's what. And wait. So I waited. It was a long wait. It seemed long. It was only 40 years. But
yeah, I know. I was thinking about that the other day. I was thinking about, when did I get out of high school? I just turned 58 in December. I thought 40 years, 40 something. I had a memory from like my teenage years. I thought, man, that was 40 something years ago. And it seems like it went like that,
Yeah. But
so now your father is telling you this stuff at 10 years old and throughout your whole life.
Until he died. He died at 50. He died a long time ago, 40 years ago.
So something in you listened to the spiritual part, and now you're watching all these things unfold that he talked about. How do you feel? How do you feel about what's happening?
Wow. It's just wow. I'm amazed. I'm impressed. I am grateful. I'm really grateful I waited. I mean, I got really bored and was alcoholic for 10 years. I mean, I didn't like the waiting part. But now I'm like right on it. This is my time.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to get into what you're doing and stuff. But you're right about that. The boredom, I think a lot of people can relate to that. And they distract themselves. And sometimes it's, alcohol or sex or drugs or rock and roll or whatever. But yeah, but I think now there's no more boredom.
It wasn't all distraction. I mean, while I was drinking in '87, the things that have been happening to many people in the last few years happened to me.
So
87 is harmonic convergence, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, now I never was familiar with that. And several people on the show have mentioned 1987, the harmonic convergence. But you're saying that when that happened, you started
my life fell apart, completely fell apart. And I remember, and the marriage and my son had problems in school, and I went to war with the school system, and I was bereft. I thought the world was insane, but and I felt I didn't have any confidence. Like, looking back, I can see I could have done things so different, but I thought there must be something wrong with me. So it didn't go that well, and yet it did. Things were happening. I took an art class with a process art teacher who changed my whole life and my whole vision of the world. Started reading Castaneda and Joseph Chilton Pierce, read every book Castaneda wrote, 10 times or 12 times now, because he described the light body. And my father said, and actually my father showed me myself as light when I was 19, took my hands.
I want to go back to Castaneda in a minute, but how did your father show you your light body at 19?
It's a cool story. He took us to France to show us all the places all the whorehouses he went AWOL in Paris after the Second World War. I think he was trying to recapture the feeling, because that's when he saw himself as light, and he went AWOL, and that was like the moment for him. And he was 50, and it was a midlife crisis. He took us all there. My mother was not pleased to going to all these whorehouses, and we're standing on a street in France, and I'm 20, and I'm wearing a dress slit from the ground to my crotch with buttons, and I'm good looking, I guess, at 20, and I'm leaning against a plate glass window in the red light district in Paris. And some guy comes up to me and hands me a whole bunch of money, and my father's standing there, and he gets furious, takes the money back, gives it to the guy, and holds my hand until I'm light and everything is light, just buoyant, joyous light, and says, "This is who you are." I think he was really pissed off at that guy. And
he held your hand
until everything was just light. It was like a Shakti pot, like transference or something, because I couldn't have done that alone, right? I never thought of such a thing. And then I said, "What do I do with this light?" And he said, "What do you want to do with it?" And I burst into rage. "You just sent me to school for 4 years. I didn't want to go to high school. I tried to stay home, and I had to go back. And so that people tell me to sit down, shut up, and if you want something, you're selfish, and you don't know what you want, and we'll tell you how it is. And now you tell me I have to know what I want." And I was just enraged. And I stayed enraged for about 40 years.
So, now, what was your father's name? Merlin?
Sydney. His name was Sydney.
Sounds like he was incredibly special.
Enlightened? Awake?
Well, how many people do you know can come hold your hand and show you your light and and help you to see everything in that manner?
But I didn't remember that at all, really, until I was meditating with Ken Stone in 2015. We were embodying our soul, and I remember the whole thing. And wow, boy, that was like amazing. Yeah, I remember that.
So you talked about Carlos Castaneda, one of my favorite books of all time. One of my top 10 is Tales of Power.
Yeah.
But you've read all his stuff numerous times.
It's like my Bible. I guess I adopted his lexicon for the light body and how it works, and assemblage points. That's how I use that description for myself, to myself.
So can you see your light body now if you want to?
Yes, I had in 2015 when I was doing that work with Ken Stone, I had 2 weeks where I was just walking around as light. And then if I had to go buy lunch at the store, I would just like shrink it all down, go buy my lunch, go back outside and go to, and I even told my mom about this, and she even listened to me. And but yeah, right now I'm not in that. So I've had like some crystal clear experiences, but they don't last forever. A couple of weeks.
Well, I think they're all going to come back for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, when
I meditate a lot.
Yeah.
I can do a lot of stuff in meditation. I studied that with Tom Stone, who gave us skills. They were for emotional processing, but they're transcendental meditation, and they break into anything you want. You can dream with them. You can use them for anything. They're just, and I do that all the time.
Do you think that overall, do you think that now in 2020, that there's more universal energy supporting people to be able to tap in and do things like that, and expanded skills and abilities and that type of thing?
Well, I've been noticing on the internet that for the last 5, maybe more, 10 years, lots of people just wake up and they can dream and they can astral travel and they can read minds, and they don't even know what's going on. They don't even care about these things, and one day it happens. So yeah, I would say yeah.
Did your father ever talk about any dimensional experiences or anything, or visitations or anything like that?
It just said it would become interstellar. We watched science fiction all the time, the Outer Limits, the
Oh
Twilight
yeah,
Zone, and we read science fiction all the time. And we never talked about visitations or
yeah,
people from other planets. To me, I don't know about
yeah.
my mother. My mother. My mother says to me, "I will never tell you what I know." Oh, gee, thanks, Ma. But I think that's what she knows. That's the stuff she knows that then she won't tell me. And I'm ramping up to make one last request. She's 95. Uh, just if you would like to tell me what you know, I will listen. I think she's afraid you'll disagree with her, you'll argue with her, you'll talk back, right? I'll just listen. I won't say a word. I'll process it on my own time. I would be privileged to know what you know because I think that's the stuff she knows. But she won't tell me yet.
Well, tell her, ask her if she'll be on Soul Speaks 5D. We'll talk about it.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
what was your? I'm just curious. If your father read science fiction and he said these things and of course the things he didn't say. But do you have any indication on what were his thoughts on ET, Star Family, that type of thing, or maybe their involvement with this time period?
No, I think it's kind of I tried to figure that out for myself. Maybe only in the last few years. I didn't really buy into that much, but I have a neighbor who's astral travels all day long. She has nothing else to do, and I've been sort of hanging with her a lot. And I opened up to this a lot. She used to go to all the conferences, all those conferences. And she does sightings and all kinds of things. And yeah, so I've been opening my own understanding of it through what I know from Castaneda. I just read The Art of Dreaming again.
Mm.
It used to scare me. Now I'm going, what do you mean? Like, isn't that happening like every day? Like, yeah, I'm developing my own understanding, like about his dreaming and when you could see other life forms and other worlds. Well, like interstellar stuff is just an interpretation of that, right?
Yeah.
That's travel, whether you're going inwardly or outwardly. Yeah. So I'm just trying to put that all together.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So you're obviously a very special soul too. So have you had any paranormal or ET or divine essence experiences, anything like that that stand out for you?
Uh, I think lots. I've never seen a spaceship. I'm not sure it's true. I tell my friend Pamela, the astral traveler, I go to lunch with her. I don't even know her yet, and I get a nosebleed. She says, "Oh, that's because you were abducted and you don't remember." Going, I think I know more than I think I know.
Yeah.
Than I allow myself to know. Yeah, ask me next year. I might remember a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not sure. I've had, I don't know, interesting experience. I've had crystal clear spiritual experiences.
Yeah.
Uh,
Dimensional.
but yeah, and it's just getting more galactic. All my paintings are galactic. First they were the mandalas. That was a couple years ago, and now they're planets and dreamscapes
And
yeah.
how do you come up with what you're going to what images you're going to create? Do you know beforehand, or does it come to you as you're doing it?
Ask my creative process what to do, and it tells me.
Mm.
But I didn't
Karen,
create creative process for my art teacher, but I knew that everything he was saying applies to everything in life. And so I'm getting that more and more. I get up every morning and I ask my creative process what to do because I have no idea in this complete insane mess of a social system what to do. And it tells me and I do it. And that's what we do.
do you have many like-minded friends besides your neighbor that are in your geographical location?
Like in the flesh kind of people.
Yeah, in the flesh. Not on the internet. Yeah.
Yeah. Not a lot, no. But I find I used to get big resistance. I'd say stuff and people would really resist me or yell at me or call me names or now I can speak and people can say they don't believe me, but they'll
Yeah.
listen.
Yeah.
Like everybody's way more open.
Oh yeah.
But I have a few friends. I have a few. Yeah, everybody's opening up a little. So I'm not. Yeah. So I'm trying to come out a little more, be more assertive. I had a really nasty experience. Well, it wasn't nasty. I did that workshop with Franco de Nicola because he was talking about the fourth dimensional layer being with, and I could see that, and it was really important to me. So I did his workshop, and while I meditated while he was talking, and this voice came up and said to me, "Now a teacher is born." And I go,
wow.
I don't want to be. When I was a kid, I thought I was going to be a teacher. I don't want to be a teacher. I'll be a messenger. I don't want to be a teacher, but I got a feeling. So I try to go in there and teach just a little. And as soon as people get a little nasty, I pull back up. But I'm opening up.
So what would you say are your one or two most divine episodic events, divine intervention, weird, crazy, strange, off planet, not normal? What would you say are most influential or whatever? I mean, does anything stand out?
I'm probably missing something really good. And when this conversation was over, I should have said that. But what I remember is this process art teacher taught us how to do a project, a creative project. And the first piece I made in this creative project using his skills, I had this insight that concept was not the essence of anything. And then time and space fell away. I split into three. I was a body over there doing stuff, but no volition. I was just completely breathed. My body was just doing it because it knew what to do. And I was this huge 10-foot energy body, and that's what I identified with. And through the body was a witness looking through the energy body. And then, of course, something was holding this whole picture of these three pieces. And I was in bliss, just utter bliss. And then I went, something will go wrong, and when this will be gone. And then that voice said, something, there are no things, no time, no space, no things. How can anything go wrong? And I went, yeah. And the bliss was back. And then I thought another thought like that, and there are no things. Oh yeah. And for 36 hours, I just blissed out. And it was just crystal clear experience. I guess that experience never leaves, but that was just crystal. And then before my granddaughter was born in August 2012, the same thing happened. I did emotional processing, and it was the first time I ever felt into the feeling of anger. And I did that, and it all went really well. And I got up and I looked out the window, and there was nothing there, but like this huge screen, a 3-panel Japanese folding screen that reached to infinity. And it was the same thing, no time, no space, no things, bliss for 36 hours. And then my granddaughter was born. So, yeah, so that one stands out.
Yeah, I would say you've had some pretty interesting. You may be underestimating yourself. What did you call that? Emotional what?
Processing.
So can you describe? I'm just curious. Can you describe that just in general? What that is?
Well, I learned it from Tom Stone. It is now called Freedom Practice. You can find him on the internet. He's in China. Oh dear. And it's transcendental meditation. So you go to the most silent space. We're using classic TM. It's a 5-minute meditation. And you take your attention from silence so that it's really pure silent attention, and focus it into the most intense point of emotion or feeling in the body. And then you go to the most intense point in that field of feeling in the body until you can enter right into the center of the emotional field, or the field of feeling. And then in the center of that is pure awareness, and you fall right through that. And that spins it all out, so that the emotions stored in the body just spin out. But they also decode all whatever that feeling is, has a code. And when you're finished doing it, you know stuff you didn't know before. It just
it clears the channel.
But it also, if you go through that center point, it can take you traveling, and you're just traveling, and you're just flying and going all sorts, and feeling also, and yeah.
Interesting.
It's an expansive thing. Yeah.
And so now you were doing the course with Franco, my dear brother.
Yeah.
And I just want to plug for Franco. You know, Franco and Kimberly are doing tremendous work offering these courses free. I know personally that because we talk, they're like everybody else. They're trying to make ends meet. I just want to just let everybody know it's all about supporting each other, paying it forward, gifting, and it does come back to you. I just want to give them a big props because they're really working hard. Um, so now you said that when you were listening to Franco, you went into meditative state and you heard a voice say a teacher is born, which is you. Now, have you heard that voice much throughout your life?
Well, I heard that when I thought that when I was a kid, which is why it disturbs me because I know it's true and I don't want it to be true. And I don't know why I don't want it to be true. And but that meditation, a lot of stuff will come in meditation. It's perfectly silent and I hear crystal clear in English something, right? So, meditatively a lot. Yeah.
Very good. That's a pretty important voice, wouldn't you say? I would
Yeah.
probably want to do what it says.
Yeah, probably.
How are you feeling? I mean, just personally, you said a while ago you're very excited. There's a lot of non well, I'm not going to say they're not excited, but let's just say less than positive.
Yeah.
Scared.
Yeah.
Scared. Let's say there's people scared. Do you feel any fear at all?
No, but this is like, I felt this all my life. I'm really remember more as a kid. I'm disappointed because like that fourth inversion layer pulled and the creative field just opened up. So now it's time for us to create new earth. All I have to do is put out what comes through me. You put out what comes through you, and we let it dance outside of ourselves, and you got new earth. Okay, find me somebody to play with. They all just barricaded themselves in their house.
Boom. I love
Well,
what you said, though.
that was fun.
I love what you said. I love, whatever comes through, share it and move on to the next one. And everybody does that. And that's a very potent explanation. I mean, I know that's what I was told 9 years ago, that as the individual goes, so goes the collective. And whatever we give you, put it out there. But remember, it's first meant for you, you know?
Yeah,
And,
for sure.
because I think part of what I'd like to hear your perspective on this, but I think part of what maybe it's the whole thing about what we're actually doing is to embody this stuff, and I was pulling down high level stuff for 3 or 4 years before I met Morgan Lee, and then she started telling me nothing matters until you embody it. And it took me about 2 years to figure out what the hell she was saying because I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
But now I do, and I see people doing it, and I think to me that's what you just said is a description of that, and in different terms. But yeah, what are your thoughts on embodying the information that we receive?
Yeah, it's totally like, well, yeah. I have like these teachers. So Ken Stone was Embody Your Soul. So I've been working with him. I still work with him every week. And he has meditations for embodiment. But when I was working with him, because I was looking for what is my purpose, right? And it was going to be a messenger, but embody the soul. Then you have to embody the message. What's the message? The message is light. So I'm supposed to be embodying light. So I'm not entirely sure how that works or what that means, but that's what my dad did. Embody light. Christ did it. I might not get that far, but it's a goal. It's a process.
Yeah, we are a process. The universe is a process.
Yeah, I am.
Expansion is a process.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you 25 years ago you formed a women's group, a coven, a neo-pagan coven, as you called it. What kind of work were y'all doing?
Um, but we did like spirituality classes, which were art and writing and find the goddess that represents you and all that stuff. And the coven was from a girl from Santa Barbara came to Montreal, and And she got a group of people together, and we did ritual, and we discussed a lot of things. We talked about witchcraft and remembered being persecuted and all that stuff. And I'm a ceramic artist, so we covered our bodies in mud one day and did some sort of meditation. We danced ecstatic dance, and all sorts of stuff. And
man, you were way ahead of your time. You're a first waver's first waver. You're like the front line of the first wave.
I don't know, maybe, I don't know. But I was like, I sent my son back to school. I should have homeschooled, but I didn't think I could. And it was a ridiculous control system. And my husband, who was actually a teacher, decided he would be the Nazi. He was a child of Holocaust survivors. He decided he'd be the Nazi in the family, and it was all control. And I couldn't participate, and I wasn't interfering. And it was all, I did not approve. Everybody said, this is normal. This is how we live. I'm going, so these classes were like, I just had to do this. I have to do this. I can't live like this. So that's what they were for then.
Now you're talking about kind of resurrecting something like that. You're talking about in that information that you sent me. You were talking about you want to bring women together. What would you like to see happen, or what are you going to make happen?
Yeah, I would like to do just a circle of women, and we have circles in Powell River. They're mostly young women, and they're mostly talk circles, but they just don't go deep. In my circles, we did trance, we did talk, we did ritual, and also older women. So now I'm 67. The social description of an older woman is heinous, when really we are empowered dreamers. Like we're the cutting edge to interstellar communication. We're expansive consciousness. That's what menopause does to you. And then we go, oh, well, now you're not a body and you're not paying attention. You can't remember what you had for breakfast. But that's not what's going on. What's going on? I'm connecting to something much higher that nobody thinks is important. Right?
Wow. So what you're saying is menopause is an energetic transformation and an expansion of the feminine connection or intuition or whatever you want to call it. I mean, you're and I love this. So that older women are a gateway, basically.
Yeah, it's a portal. A portal? Yeah, a portal.
Wow. Now, in regard to your father, in reference to you are light, and then of course the I guess the reality of a carbon-based body converting to a light body. Have you noticed in the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, have you noticed any changes with your body? Do you feel like that anything's happening as far as transformation physically?
Absolutely, totally, completely. There were the whole like leg cramps thing that I had for a long time because my muscles would just go like rock, and then the density was like passing through my body. And I used to get this in 87 too. And then again, when I started meditating, like in the last 5 years, it feels like energy bubbles are bursting in certain parts of my body. And it's a really nice feeling. And that I did all my legs and stuff. Now it's my whole, yeah. And there was
how about telepathy?
Telepathy is really good. I can talk to lots of people. My ex-husband died, but he wouldn't talk to me. So my friend said, because I did mediumship work for her husband, who killed himself, if you can talk to dead people, why can't you talk to people who are alive telepathically? And he was my husband, and we lived together for 25 years. And so we did it for 8 months. We did a telepathic thing. I completed it was like, yeah, I can do a lot of easy telepathy. More and more.
Have you ever telepathed with your father?
Yes, I did. Last week, I was really upset with all this nonsense, and I can't go out, and I need toilet paper, and so, and I was really upset. So I did the quantum jumping meditation, which is really easy to contact anything from through that. And I said, "What is going on?" And he said, "An organism is dying. It's not the human body; it's civilization." It's shutting down one organ at a time. So I said, well, what happens when it dies? He says, well, what happens to the human body when it shuts down? So I said, it embodies its soul, because the soul can't leave the body, can't leave the world except through the body. So you embody before you die. So that's what happens. It re-embodies its soul and faces the stars. And I said, okay, it's okay then. I can do this. And yeah, that's what he said. He doesn't talk to, I don't think he's very close to this earth and its problems anymore. In like 2013, he came to me as this enormous smile and said, you're not missing this, are you? And but if I call him, he'll talk to me.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You could ask him. You could ask him the questions that you want to ask your mom.
No, I think I'm supposed to ask her, but I don't know.
Oh, you're supposed to ask her. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Wow. Absolutely wow.
Sometimes I don't know if I'm talking to him, whatever, or if I'm talking to the memory of everything he presented me with while he was here, which is stored in me somewhere. Either way, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's all the same thing, isn't it? Really.
So, but I still get quite pissed off with my mom used to scream, people can't handle this, right? And they're not doing a very good job. It's like
No.
nobody's doing this well, but it's going to be.
But there's enough of us that are, and I think that's a big part of. Well, I'm gonna get your perspective on this, but I mean, there's a school of thought. That's probably not a good way to say it, but that, like your father said, in other words, we came not just to witness this thing, but actually have a role in doing what your father did for you, basically, being the light and showing people the light. What are your thoughts on that?
It's interesting because all he said to me was, you will see everything you came here to see. On the other hand, to see is to create. So, and I don't play a very big role. I have this tiny life, but I have some teachers who say, oh, you should go, make a big impact. I don't know. But yeah, I'd like to play. I want to play. Yeah, I want to be.
Well, we'll play with you. everybody reach out to her. I think she needs some playmates.
Yes, if any women have any interest, I think I could possibly do Zoom meetings. I think that works.
Yeah.
If any woman would be interested in this, I'm gonna have to get on actually looking for people now. But I think I can do it online because my town is really small. Everybody's really Christian, and some people are interested until they go to church, and then they come back and go, maybe not. So it's hard to find people. In Montreal, it was a bigger population. Here's a very small.
Yeah. Yeah, they go sit in a dogmatic sermon full of condemnation and judgment. They might have a different opinion after a while. Yeah, it's important to do what we can to in other words, be careful of what we expose ourselves to.
Messenger of light. I promised in 2015 I will be a messenger of light. Oh.
Well, Deb Green Vahara just said I'd be in for the Zoom meetings.
Oh, cool. I know Deb.
So, and I think, so did Carol Mordega and Lena Schurer and Cheryl Carey. So,
well, give them all my email address if you have.
Maybe after the show, you go to my page and go into the comments.
Oh, okay.
And put your information in there, and you're also welcome to, once you put something together, like a summary or an overview, send it to me, and I'll put it in the Soulogy, put it out there for you. Because I think it's a great idea, and I think I'm a big believer that it doesn't matter how many likes you have, it doesn't matter how many views, doesn't matter how many people see you with their physical eyes. The work that you're doing, I think you've grossly underestimated the impact you've had on the human hybrid soul grid, as I call it. I think you've had a tremendous impact, because I'm a big believer that we can all do that. We all do that. But yeah, you've Joan Kirkendall says she's come too.
So I go to comments on your page, is that it?
Yeah, well, yeah, after the show, just go to my page like you're going to watch the show.
Okay.
And just click comments and put the information in there. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Yeah. So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'd love to God, we just barely even touched the surface here.
Oh, that was fun. I got to tell all my stories. That was really cool.
Well, but yeah, we should do this again down the road, in a few weeks or something, if you're up for it.
And you even enjoyed listening to those stories, and you didn't just kind of blow me off. That's really nice.
No, I'm like you. I'm just like you.
Yeah, that's all right.
Not to mention I'm married to somebody that's even more like you.
Oh,
So, I've kind of gotten used to it now. I like this lifestyle.
yeah.
But I'd love to collaborate with you again in the future. You're
Oh,
beautiful, beautiful, beloved sister and warrioress and priestess. And thank you for showing up.
well, thank you so much. That was really wonderful, and I will get on it now. Do some work.
Do it.
Thank
We'll
you.
support you 100,000%.
All right. Thank you. Love you.
Love you too. Peace out.